Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group called Navigate to Your Niche.
Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira, your host for Munira's Musings. Good morning and welcome to another edition. Today my guest is Nancy Becher, all the way from Michigan. Hi Nancy, thank you so much for being here.
Good morning, Munira. How are you this morning?
Good morning, good morning. We are well. Thank you so much for being here bright and early. Nancy is she has a podcast that says, "Don't wait till the pigs fly." Now, this is something very interesting. She is the behind the scenes strategist for businesses, and I want to know what she does. Aren't you curious? So before we dive in, let me tell you who I am and what we do and what Munira's Musings is about, and then we can go dive into the interview. So my name is Munira Zahabi. I'm the niche navigator, and I help people align their skills and take it to the next level, because we need to find your niches, and then we need to go to the niches, to the riches. So it's niches to riches, and that's what we do. It's a long process. I don't want to teach you here, but basically is everybody out there wants to do something about their life. They don't know what they want to do, or they don't know how to do it, and I'm the person that makes that happen. We make that foundation so strong that you can go anywhere in life with that same foundation and build any kind of business, because once you have that understanding, you can do anything you want. It comes from the heart, not up here. Munira's Musings is a show that is based on niches of other wonderful people in the world who are doing extraordinary things. I started this show because I met a few people who are doing extraordinary things, and they didn't know how to put the message out. And I had the tools, and I said, let's just interview you. And it started out with this one lady interview, and now we're almost on our 200th show. That's going to happen in the first week of July, and I'm pretty excited about it. So what started out as just putting the word out has become a curiosity show for me. And, it just takes that one thing to start. So if you're on the fence about doing anything, just start it. And if you guys have a niche, those of you listening, have a niche and you want to connect with me and be on my show, go ahead and connect with me and be on my show. Let's put you out there, because there's somebody out here out there who needs to listen to what you have to do, and that's how the connection happens. Thank you so much. Let's get into this interview. Hi, Nancy. Thank you so much again. And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I have been in business for over 35 years. I started my very first business when I was 12 years old. And one of the reasons why I started this business, which I've been doing for probably 20 years now, is the fact that back when I first started, there was no such thing as an internet. There was no such thing as personal computers.
No, really?
My first computer was called a K-Pro, and it was this little metal box that had two 8.5-inch floppy drives. There was no hard drive, and it ran on a software program called DOS. You had to code. If you were typing something and you wanted bold, you had to code it. You had anything that you wanted to do had to be coded. It wasn't Windows or Apple. It was really difficult. And the only internet that was out there was AOL.
Yeah. You got it now.
Yeah. And when somebody wanted to start a business, you couldn't Google it. There were no books on entrepreneurship. There were no such things as podcasts or YouTube or anything like that. And so when you wanted to start a business or run a business, if it wasn't a large corporation that other people were involved in, you had to do it on your own. And there was very little information out there to help you figure it out. You would do something. If it didn't work, you'd do something else. If it didn't work, you'd do something else until you finally found something that would work, or you gave up and said, I'm going back and getting a job, and you say, well, we've got the internet, we've got everything now. But I'm saying at this point in time, we're still in the same position because there's so much out there now that we still don't know what to do. Do you listen to person A?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. There's a program that comes out every so often, and we are, oh, do I do this or do I do that? Do I do this or do I do that? Yes, and you're absolutely right. Yes.
Yeah. And so that's what I do. I work with small businesses that want to grow their business, but they maybe don't know the right things to do, and they're tired of running around in circles waiting for pigs to fly. They want to know it now. And we get in there and we work together and we figure out what their goals are, where they want to be in 5 years, and how they're going to get there. And we help them implement the processes and the strategies to actually take their business from where it is today to where they want it to be in 5 years or 10 years down the road. Then people started asking me, hey, Nancy, do you know how to do X? Or, hey, Nancy, have you ever heard of Y? Or, should I buy this or should I buy that? And we actually started the very first networking program in the city of Arlington, Virginia. We've been doing it ever since.
That is awesome. So what started out as just renting out spaces became then when people started asking you, then you decided. So it sounds like you then had to twist, and what I say is you have to figure out your niche and then get going and just reinvent yourself, and reconfigure is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So,
pivot away.
There you go. So what happened you've come into the modern times. 25 years later, somebody's going to say that's ancient times. But okay, you've come into the modern times right now. There's so many strategies out there, so many things available. Do you have certain things that you pick and choose, or do you just research everything and then is it like a cookie cutter thing, or do you just then help your clients figure out what they should have in their business?
Yeah, everybody is unique. Every business is unique. There is no such thing as cookie cutter. You could have 4 people, all dog walkers, but each one of those 4 people has their own unique needs and wants and desires. And, maybe one dog walker only wants to walk with little dogs. Another dog walker works with large dogs who are petrified of noise. So what I start out, and this is a good suggestion for anyone listening to the show, what I start out doing is telling everybody that I work with to sit back, close their eyes, take a deep breath, almost like you're going to be doing some just thoughts and that. And and picture yourself 5 years from now. What does your life look like in 5 years? And that includes how much money are you making? Where are you living? What do you have for breakfast in the morning? Where do you have breakfast in the morning? Your whole life. And that will actually tell you what it is you want to be doing 5 years from now. For 11 years, I published a business magazine. And it was my biggest, I was prouder of that than I was of anything else that I had done, because here's this fantastic business magazine. It was being sold in Barnes and Nobles. I had it in, in bookshops in 3 states. But when I did that, I was tired, and I was having issues with it, and I couldn't get writers to write. And so when I did this exercise myself, I looked back and I'm reading it and I said, there's not one word about the magazine in this thing I wrote. And that day I closed up shop and I did not do another magazine. And I'm not sorry I stopped it, because it was no longer something, you had said heart instead of brain. It was something that was no longer in my heart. And so
the magazine was there for just a season.
Yeah. So when you do this exercise, it will give you a really good idea. If you just let it flow, don't sit there and go, well, this is what I should be doing, and this is how much money I should be making. Just let it happen. Just picture it. Then you can actually work backwards, and you can say, all right, well, if I'm at 5 years from now, I'm making $500,000 a year. How am I going to get there? And I know I want to be doing this, and I want to be doing this. So how much money do I need to make in these endeavors in order to get to that 500,000? Well, then how am I going to be making these individual amounts of money? So you're working backwards. You're figuring out how you're going to do it. Once we get that done, then each person that I work with, we actually start figuring out the tools and the strategies for how we're going to get to those milestones, and I help them learn. One woman, for instance, is a photography studio, and she wanted to have a calendar that people could just, she was tired of having people call in and schedule appointments, because it was taking all of her time scheduling appointments. So I said, why don't we get a calendar? And so then we're looking at all the different calendars that are out there. And she says, well, I already have Square there where I take payments. Does Square have anything like this? So I went in and I did research, and lo and behold, Square actually has a calendar integration. So now she does not ever have to take another phone call. Everything goes into her calendar and gets scheduled that way. And it saved her so much time and energy. And those are the kinds of things that we do. We figure out, what it is that's going to make your business life run smoother.
So tools that you need. And that's awesome. That's an awesome idea. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Things, these are the little nuances that people tend to forget about, and they don't pay attention to anything. And it takes a lot of their time. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. But so let's continue. Now that you've done this, you have to do a lot of research in your part. So you are like this book of wealth of knowledge. And there's calendars, there's payment options, there's funnels and all of that, the lead generation and all of that good stuff. So do you like anything that's better than another?
There are, and I actually, on my website, I have a resource page that I list some of the tools and strategies that I recommend.
Awesome, thank you. What do you recommend people do, when they're starting a business? Is there do they have to have certain things in order when they start their business? Because that's where my forte is, where I help people start their business and lay down the foundation. And as soon as they think of an idea, they need a web page, they need this, they have a list of whatever, and it's like, wait, you can do everything without all of these things. They're not necessary. But any ideas or any suggestions, any words of advice?
Well, again, I'm in all of these groups on Facebook, as we all are. And there's a couple of them that I get really frustrated with because person after person after person will put up, I want to start a home-based business. Any suggestions? And I tell them, well, that's all good and dandy. Get some suggestions, but you can't just say, I am going to start X company. It's got to be something that you care about, that you're passionate about, that you really want to make a difference with. If you're just doing something to make money, go get a job, really and truly. So the first thing you have to figure out is, going back to doing that exercise, what do you see yourself doing and being in 5 years? Then write down, when you're playing around on Facebook, for instance, what are the kinds of groups that you're in? What are the things that you post a lot about? Do you post about dogs all the time? Maybe then you should look into doing something in the world of dogs, dog walking, or, something that you really have a passion for. Then get out there and do research on those particular jobs. Once you decide what it is you really want to do, then you have to start figuring out how you're going to do it. Is it important to have a website? Maybe not at first. Websites can be expensive. It might be better and easier to create a Facebook page that doesn't cost anything. And when you're talking to people, send them to your Facebook page. You always have to, from the very beginning, you always have to have the end result in mind. And another part of the whole thing that people don't like talking about and close their ears to when we talk about it is finances. Well, I don't have the money to do that. And I'm not going to worry about finances. I just do what I'm doing and the money's going to come. Not so true usually, and so you need to figure out from the very beginning how much money it's going to cost, and if there's a way that you can pay yourself from the beginning. That may be $25 a month, but you need to figure out how you're going to pay yourself from the very beginning. Because if you don't look at a business as a money-making endeavor, it's a hobby. The IRS tells us you have to be generating so much money, in order to be considered a business. From the standpoint of your own beliefs and mentality, running a business is different than doing something because it's fun to do. Yeah. And if you're only looking at a couple of $100s a month so you can go out and have lunch with your friends, that's really a different scenario than making even $50,000 a year. There's a difference, and you need to figure out what it is you want. Get QuickBooks. Divide your money up. Do not run your business finances through your personal accounts. Get a business checkbook. Get a business credit card. Make sure that you're dividing up your time, your energy, your money. Those are really the most important things I can recommend you figure out in the beginning.
Most people wait for something to happen, and I've read it somewhere, I've heard somewhere where you have people go to LA and wait for Hollywood finders to find them. It doesn't happen. You have to put in the work. And so just don't wait around, just do the work, because every day that you chisel away into the big stone, you're nearer to your masterpieces. I don't know where I heard that from either, but it's a good thing.
There's one more thing though about that, is just doing work does not necessarily guarantee anything either. You need to be smart about the work that you're doing.
So tell us how we can find you.
Oh, Well, you can find me at Nancy at nancybeckerbiz.com or at don'twaittillpigsfly.com, and that's spelled DONTWAITTILPIGSFLY.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so there you go. And she is also on Facebook. So, but ladies and gentlemen, you know, the story, the whole process here is start your business, but do the steps that she's outlined, you know, figure out why you want to be in business, what it is that you want to do, what it is that you want to achieve. It's not just think about making money, because if you're going to put in the time, the money, the energy, then you want it to come out. You want the beautiful cake. If you're gonna, you know, if you're gonna create this creation and it's gonna be the end result, is gonna be the cake, then you want it not to be a lopsided. If you want it beautiful cake to come out that way, it's everything is a concoction of whatever you put in it. So go ahead and do the work, figure out, and that process is the process that I take you through, the Nancy takes you through. Is why do you want to be in this business? And if you think about this, if you strengthen that foundation, oh my God, that's going to create so much waves for you. It's going to change your life. It's going to change the way you do your business, and it's going to change the trajectory of your business. So go ahead and connect with us. And if you'd like this show, please go ahead, like, share, and subscribe. There's a lot of good nuggets in it. If for those of you watching the replay, please go ahead and hashtag replay. And everybody else, if you like it, go ahead, like, share, and subscribe, like I said. And that's all for now, folks. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group,